Queer Voices of Bhutan.
Me, tenga first desut na chashu do first expansion. Tenga do live nga nga farm na bedo mushroom gi farm na. Nga desut na zive kokap ani bomb tapchi. Tele turu nga zumbi nga jitansi na desu ani kokap leni to ay bachin. Yang zabaza mabiwa. Zero towns shuni.
Tezumbe dance the so ye desuna, or is it just you?
Dance which sometimes gym.
Mogi nalo te ngai khako ke wachin te ngaji transforming ngaji sumbi mi chitokchiba 46 batch nale konde anytime na mashibe ba da boom na shawachin business shawach prom theni mes ngai gender ki kon mashiba so anale nga 46 na chikhabe kon kara dan biodolo na so kokab lejim thopchi se shuni bi na kai so wachin ngaji analo te kon 46 batch na ngaji ba wang di ni than ma be ba la ngaji MTC nalo sa analo dan biodolo kongi special treat pera be la ngaji asa kon ni manga che nga an prom thinbe dan dum chi kongi mashiba in is la de ban bindigi nga an ni ma di se ma ko de la dan bi ngaji de sunna bishi training be da this special room da chi khara room na ani hostel na ya ni chi kha bisha de ngaji separate pero ngaji special pero kongi toilet dan so be so ni shim be ngaji lan zum treat be is shi ni dan chi kha biodolo kebalash dos la ni na ga so chi da mo labe biodolo ni ma chui da mo da nga se di George shi ni la rozum be da pesha da ma so ani be biodolo te desu chi di be ra la na biodolo te da nga chi danam George be mi ka de be nga so nga chi ge desu na la ni cha shu be shi ni bi na ngi de dan bi ni de desu na lo da se ba na de da nga chi transforming nga chi zum gara kokap chi image shi ni bi nga gi be wa jin de ra desu peshim de de na lo la ma thop si mi pe da se ra min do dan bi de gara kokap tu te da se ngi ani cha ro chi ba mo ya de ana la li shi be be to lo to pa ni bi de shi ni bi na
Kodan pache desuna ziudalu zimi ani kachi bisi zumu.
Nga Bhutan di ana zini no sara mina. Chila le mo le. Chila pitele ana le tinga juni bengara ki no sam tam pitele jui.
Taji. The later on 46 na di kachi
le ngagi ya head office na jui jo betelen ngagi ani ngara issue sulap chibe te ngan me ma to ka da kongi latte sorry ching ngaji mashiba in se the next time thing ngaji ching na ngadi ni madi ugame gam chimo da kashbena mashiba de ngani ri chibi na ngami sosura ina se ngan khune ani bishu ta ko dash ga de ani be de men chimo ko kap chiung ga na tan de ni madi mashiba bindi in se ta ani be ngaji lo ani be
I think the saddest thing happened to her when she first applied for the DSUP, having a female CID, so she got a thum chibamo.
Oh, okay.
So much fiber female gave
CID.
So I'm
still then that to mitsuya. Da yanjin haram magoina yanjin shichi thonji bebe anjum ne ngaji clear chi doubt be still that to ngaji advocacy be the chiru transhuman da ani bana no some keba to shi.
But I think she was literally in the bus. So she was like, when the bus was about to leave, Moting Januba.
In the Desumba?
In the first
Anya complain di ngachira boom gina benuba de kong mashibe. Last na labda lu goi biota di boom chiki labde lamelo ating adi and trans on the minanga di dobe da ma prom mitengase. The anale kunse mashibe but ya prom chitini me mo se ani chimbe la chidi hamagum di miscommunication.
That's the lot of trans women, the sumi is the sunakuna. Trans men, yeah.
Trans men did comfortable to searching condi the female ID being the quite boom na shambis. The bosom virgin as from condi thing.
Social media na active dune ba tenga so the TikTok la example TikTok with the TikTok na life na jo azum dine okay the life na jo bit the lo tele gasla ana lumi mashite yan shadow view ina tele ani gasla nga yan mashu ina the context dine the questions system for example che busmo bumo tele I personal ki kolea dini do dazum dip dalu de tanga nganga ki personal be chi nganga ki gazum deal beong la chen thetikap dinga yani comments the gar ignore be tang the various the thetikap the look chaks be as aks be bib de dalu very much way mana at tamni ba chi le tappe dele teaching I lamni LGBT ki kole hamagoga chindi please chachara gaslanga educate pe Google browse pe ta zulamni hagi dele discrimination di mapalere fees pe me gatina ya social media me the real life ne gadi fees pe me mo tangachi for example nga feminine game no so nga skirt this again top this again be jom and down party this not was job dala to start ne me this again dele bully lap telu bully da uchi face me be the discrimination stigma lo dele one this chanchi mom fees pe social media na lefa the Instagram na party upload period na comment this ya azum dini dos islam the azum biteka pewachinde the contesigi mashowachin the personal na be text spiritu be the question asked be thangda aniyeba so the kungi the at root na lawachinde the ngachiragi explain bini gi mood no ngya myongba no so the kungi at solution be chin anigaslanga hey are you boy or a girl just curious some question asked be wachinde law minute I am a gay my sexual no sorry I am gaslanga my gender is male and my sexual orientation is gay la dance the legit law min the gay la me gachumo sans diwachin law minute the same sex the same sex comedy the bus kami azum ins the explain be the mina the question ditang no jo the ones mom ditang na so fali root na ask pep the ludi the time root na ask the kage root na ask pep the mi kami the so the question ask pep thangi na jo the question ask lejum be ask pep chen the ngachi ge lejum be ani answer byong ma no ngagi de ani chingsi
so ngagi bewachin the TikTok live na datu singa judire timo ani video beotalu the mamde mapera negative comments te mapera ome tenga ilabi titigap de atsi ran tash bibi hai jome ani nani atslab jome gachimo chinsu de gachimo doni sem ni chara dongam to indi ruluki tabina mapadi kistani mi raji slabi mo te an beoda ni live na om beoda chinsu gadi kam beo chena khushi ne de jimi live na om da rongo no labgo no bero chingi anzu memchu beoda lu ko sim shi anzu anzu bibe mada ida atara ani biko singa itani bibi
anzu comment beoda lu kongi fake account use bom real account use
yalu ki fake account me yalu la me tar support ngachi ko me ignore bi jada ani comment la me badla dalu kam chi me block pe ni te mo te an bi ding ai la bi a ke shi ngachi khung di debra imbe daru so sunal fake zo be me pate te an bi di di khung la mi di ngachi ki khung ki kam chi am chi la mi di rangi lejim bi la go mi di ke che ngachi ki thaba chi henki khung ki thab ile ani bi dilin henki la dilin viral zo ni
TikTok sam chi me mate ni troll accounts so me ba na there were a few incidents where the community gave video this aniba they made fun of it, but the good thing about them is like when you try to reach out to most of them, I think they took down the video except for few, but much take down way because who can personally involved and you approach them saying that this video is very insensitive, offensive to the community anymore. They were more than happy to take it out. But most of them are ready to hear. So good side do at least people are willing to learn. But TikTok live it's a very difficult place to be meba mashu hira te rani comment be me disudi khotisi account fake me if you visit the account be version video me to moma and this account is usually made to troll people meba khotisi they think for
I normal anzu mabiru to bete like genuine human empathy
ya lugam chi mo anzum be ani lab gono rangi share be ome ba lag viding chi ko yi na anzum lab gono be de mi gani mem chu de totally dilin gachi pe na mashu dilin de ko dilin tip zabe de hip ki life and patient me
the lalugia comment beni do like same ra LGBT ki members this ra fake accounts ove denga life na job to techelam ni mo life to job to I wish nga chi confident to zumbe to be anzum open up nui no chigam chi ka to thame anzum lab pe de so any advice kazum nga zumini anzum lab to the advice ti chungkure de jindo magi shi yeah.
It's not my first time moving out of my country, so I think navigating a new context as a queer person brings up more anxieties and preoccupations than if you were just to move away. So navigating spaces is a process, I would say. So when you reach a new context, you have to be aware, like find that balance between self-expression and safety, because it's a new.
You never know.
You never know, right?
Yeah.
And you might even like do some research beforehand to kind of like gauge what the religious and political like climate in that country is. So there's always that extra step that comes in into the process. And then when you arrive, one of the interesting things I found is like navigating the closet. Like that conversation comes up all over again. Because you're a new person in a new context, in a new community. So you get to choose whether or not you want to come out again, or like you have to like think about it again.
True, yeah.
Even if it wasn't traumatic in the first place, even if it was, like you do have to like sit with yourself and be like, how do I want to go about it? Do I want to like be fully out if I am not? Do I want to not, and try and like explore another part of myself? And I think that can be truly freeing for some people, especially those that are closeted back home, when you're in a place where no one knows you, you don't know no one, and you're away from those people that you might care what they think about it. It can be really freeing to like take that space to explore it, and be like, okay, no, I'm queer now, and I can like be here in a completely new context and see what that means for me. Or it can be the opposite, and as it was for me, like my coming out was very organic, so I never really had to go through that process, so it became a little annoying or teasing to even have to think about it, and like have to say it or not say it and kind of navigate around it. So again, it's a new community, and I think because of the scale of the country, or just like the size of the population, as we always say, it's a small world, or smaller than the one that I'm used to. So I've been more involved in the conversation and admit like projects and initiatives of the community here that I've ever been anywhere else. And it might feel that way just because of the smaller population. Because outside, you're a queer person and you can be openly out of the closet and engaging in events and things, but not necessarily, you don't feel like you have that much of a say, or like your opinion is like as impactful as I feel it is here. Something also super interesting is navigating like gender roles and scripts in a new culture, in a new context, because they're not the same everywhere. And I think they are similar between home, which is Colombia, or with the place that I've spent the most of my life. But like passing is not universal. And especially here, after I decided to like bust off my head, which I haven't done before. Like, so before I could pass, you know, no one would question it, and it would just be something about me that I would eventually share, or like you would find out. But like here, it was an indicator or something that people get to like pick up on and assume.
Okay.
Yeah, and I've never really faced that before. So that was really interesting to see how, also just girls in general, I find them like how people express their gender as female here is very feminine, like way more feminine than anywhere else. So like elsewhere, I wouldn't be considered like tomboyish or non-feminine at all, but like here
you are?
I am.
Oh,
you know, like just because girls are much more like stereotypically feminine.
Oh my god, okay, interesting.
I found myself like seeing that contrast and just thinking
But were you doing it in like an offensive way, or just like
No, not at all. I think it's just how it is. So like if you go into a bar and see girls that like always with heels and like cute tops and very like feminine presenting and feminine, like they behave very delicately sometimes. And of course this is a generalization.
You make us sound so cute.
But yeah, it's something that I realized myself of being like, okay, maybe I'm not as, or like just like consider the spectrum of things and be aware of that and how I present and how I'm perceived more than how I present.
Gender roles, I think, especially in schools, we were taught like it was very normal here to have a separate idea of what a girl child should do and what a boy child should do, and that came from home. It didn't even start from school. You just, I don't know, the parenting style, your families around you, I guess, I don't know. You were just, no one really taught you like this is how it should be. It was just this idea that girls should be more shy, more delicate, more nurturing, whereas boys can go, play in the fields, be naughty, tear their clothes, and no one will question you. But like, if a girl does that, like you come home with your torn pants because you were playing football, they're like, no, bungi and zombeni myo, long but mo parents ki. If you keep our nails dirty, it's like no, that's dirty. A female shouldn't be dirty, whereas a boy can afford to be dirty. There was something always like that, like growing up as a child. And I think slowly this translated into our educational life. When we started our elementary school, primary school, it became like the ambition that girls aspire to and boys aspire to were also different. Girls would want to be teachers, nurses, whereas boys would want to be doctors, engineers.
Right.
And it shouldn't have been like that, no? But like anytime I remember like class nalo, the teachers would be like, so what's your ambition? And then everyone would like, stand up and be like, I'm Tashi Balan, I want to be a teacher. I didn't actually want to be a teacher. I just, my mom's a teacher, and then I thought that this teacher role was more associated with females. So it just naturally became that way. I don't think it is like that anymore. Like when we talk to youth, it's a lot more diversified, and they know that like girls can become doctors too, and boys can become nurses too. So that's that has changed, which is good. But in the past, that was there. And then also the dress code, the way people, even clothes have genders. That is so interesting. You never think of that. No, like pants are for boys, big shirts are for boys. Girls will wear like tight pants, leggings, or dresses, and that is what that defines who you are. The way we give power to clothes, to colors, all these are differentiated into more gender. I find that very interesting right now, but like as a child you would not think about it, no? And it shouldn't have been that way. Like when I think about my elementary days right now, we were always familiar with what is a boy, what is a girl. But then there were people who were like, if I say now, like who were non-binary, gender non-binary, who were like trans, who were, as I said earlier, tomboys, labeled as tomboys. But we never really, considered that they would need something, a different requirement. They would have like different requirements. They would have different experiences from what we experience. So we were always, that majority dialogue na rajon, but male the female jam important is mitsudi taming was lape. So I think what happened, like unfortunately, tragically actually, was that even when we grow up and when we go into our jobs, when we go get services from the hospitals, maybe even police stations, or if you have to go to seek help from agents like Renew or NCWC, we never thought of the repercussion that defining society solely based on girls and boys, men and women, female and male, the kind of repercussions it would have. And these all started from very young age, like gender roles, how like it was divided into us, internalized. We never thought of it, and when we were questioning, we were like, our whole world is shaken, and we were like, what? So right now, I think the fact that we're, especially Queer Voices of Bhutan, and these kind of platforms, that we're getting a chance to speak about it, and getting a chance to unlearn things. Unlearning is so difficult. So unlearning and learning. So I think that's been an interesting observation and experience.
For us also, for the community, I think when you talk about gender roles, I mean that was one of the biggest obstacles that we have to face as someone, I think, who has visibly passed as a boy child during my young age. I mean, and here I was in terms of my gender expression, which was very feminine according to our culture and context. So it was very difficult for me to think that where do I fit in, because whenever there was a conversation about, let's say, about gender or anything regarding to the majority, I think I always felt that I felt left out, because There was nobody or no one who could understand me. On top of that, I mean, when you stick out in that way, I think, and like Tashi has already said that this concept of gender, what is masculine, what is femininity, what is the characteristic or a behavior of a boy or girl, I think is already embedded in the majority of the student in the school. So them, I think, them thinking about you as an abnormal entity, I think, and teasing and bullying you. So in a way, I think this stereotypical notion about what gender roles should be does affect all of us, including the queer community. And for us, I think it was more of an alienation because whatever we were seeing around us on television, in our homes, and whatever we were like expressing or feeling did not match. And towards the point that we feel especially me, I started to believe that I was abnormal.
Right.
And I think no matter how much I try hard to fit in, I'm not able to fit in because
that space was never created.
And like I cannot be like the majority of them. I mean, like I cannot be a boy who loves to play football here and all that things. So that the set of things that you have to achieve to pass off or like be accepted as a boy child in society.
Even that, the way we deal with emotions, even that is
gendered,
ruled by our gender norms and expectations. Like for girls, it's okay for us to like no one will see anything. But poor boys, they can't. Like the moment they cry, they're like, oh my god, don't act like girls. That's so sad. No, so like if we talk about domestic violence or like intimate partner violence, a guy being emotionally, mentally, physically abused by their female partners, or maybe by their male partners also, how do they seek help if the society is gonna shun them? There's been a lot of cases, like help seek and then they're literally laughing on your face, and someone has taken this, it's a brave step, to go forward and ask for help, and then you get laughed at, and you're like, okay, shut down.
And I think we also see the same manifestation in the transgender women community as well, where they think there is their right of passage to get beaten and abused by their intimate partners.
Oh my god!
Because they think that that's what women goes through, so they feel that it is gratifying or like
affirming.
Like that makes me
affirming.
woman.
I think affirming action or a rite of passage for them. So
oh my god! I hope it's not like that for everyone. No, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
oh my god. No. That's even more dangerous. That's like normalizing that female, just because you identify as a female, as like victim of abuse, stuff. Oh my god, that's so sad.
And it also goes the flip side, right? So like
the male
transgender males,
oh my god,
start adopting this stereotypical attitude toward women. Yeah.
Mitsi the mom gira the intersex lamin singajilu the intersex kina beojinda chini chara mais tile yalama chindi apple millimeter mesi anzum the chiga debajin nabna singa che millimeter se kunjiga de do tamimo anzum is slash or is still then
because it's dangerous.
chile anzum miga se ani bitume ba tenga giding ara shishi ton tenga di transi mapa ini di kewi kapsedi bus bed bichu tenga gi same the bichu gara bum bishinga bumin sere no michingi dizumano tenga chi charo ye lapchi mo be mi di chora chi penanga jino sam tango la bita chugi na ga di tindi bulu tenga ila mishile to gara nga chira equal mo nga chira joy mi wan chi the gender equality same brand some tawang nga shishi binga yani bra labi still mi tsuga ni labi azai dobe
see and the wrong interpretation made like that's dangerous.
Ani chike ani nga chike lapsu ba chin ani chike chi mo nga chike advocate beojin iro ongono de berete omi tsubita same brand mi mentan.
I think the one myth that I want to burst is like since we wanted to I think talk about let's talk about young teenager children in school. I mean, who is being bullied by both their peers and teacher, thinking that like by bullying them, he or she or they might become normal or turn out normal by just constantly reminding them that okay, the way you're walking, the way you're speaking, the way you're expressing is totally against the gender norm. So you should be thankful towards us that we are constantly there to remind you and correct you. And that also happened with me when in school, where like the boys in my class used to always, I think, teach me how to be a man or masculine, the way I was supposed to walk and all that. Of course, I think it's still happening in our schools, even to a certain extent in our colleges as well, where still I think we follow strict gender norms. And once if somebody doesn't, if somebody doesn't fit in there, then I think be it the educator themselves or the peers around them are on a mission to correct them and bring them to the right path of, and by making them I think the stereotypical version of the gender and the sex they're born with. So this is still happening. I mean, I'm not saying because we stay in urban centers, so we come across this very, very empathetic teacher for willing to go the extra mile, educator for willing to go extra mile to understand their students and all that. But that's not the same case the moment we step outside the temple. I mean,
that's true.
We have our friends as young as like in their single-digit years or in their teenager who are still bullied by their peers, and of course their teachers tend to be perpetrated as well in most of the times.
And sometimes even families, no?
And they think it's a lifestyle choice. I mean, it is not lifestyle choice. I think you're born with it. I mean, like, it is a very natural process. I mean, what is unnatural in this process is the constant bullying and the savior mindset people bring in, no, saying that like I have to like correct.
This is me helping.
I have to correct this person, or I have to like bring this person into the right path according to what is the norm of the society. So, so this is still happening. I mean, I think almost all of us are in this table are product of the stigma, the bullying and discrimination that we experience in the education setting. But right now we can still say that there are many students, the young children or young people in our country who are still going through what we have went through.
The changes the keba halam duslan ni na besojin ne mangagi na biuda di tanga class 9 half lita machu anali drop biudalu still ngagi the family drodira de bet mo tinga yanale bebe tanga debe drodi ma debe dinga da upcoming comes to ngaji some transform so mi mo anjugi denlis no di ngara yagi ra ani thaji di ngami di na social media na thi dani bebe the nimadinga family ngagi exam agent di Danali nga dra dili lokti bishay sam school na time na ani be kangin na mi sa thinga gi time na di same nga gi charo chue community chue ani be happen be no nga zumbra da anzum be be darlo datugi ni manga gi kangin heb zum da datugi heb dalu khebo de hanji jonislam ni ga zochin da nga ji gi charo transform ni ro stream be datu tim chue te nga ji gi advocate be anzum be da still ro khonsu di da kiraki da bumi zo ji bumbera ni allowed be is ni school na be wa ji nga gi time na be chin inchi danga kiraki ni se gajibilam ni mo ni man nga gira nga anzum dangaragi the gender ngaragi ani sexual orientation mashi question period bi deme ba de then nga gi bi den transform ani de bi da lam ma so share that time nga time na de ma para hamago de ba khonsu de teacher biru charo biru family biru ani bi de da na le de datu gi bi ota khaba de changes lash duslan bi nga gi so ajin the main the migi 야루기디 마브라 하마고도님에 데 야루기디 시치 톤치라 비메 데베라 두모 디수리드가 신납니다 메인 딩아치기 advocate 베보미디 카체 슬람빙 아기요진 so transfer being as 다롱아치라 self stigma within member 나치라기 full confident 비다 아니다 람마수드 베루 차로 지치 당아치 감정을 안좀 직강일지 테이미스 랍베 아니 랍수 베와진 때가 지미기 마치로 서포트 미베 시디 멤버 데데 as a transhuman besimdi same 공기양 다 니마기 베와진디 니마게 다 작가로 폴리몰스 아니 디카모니 메바도 아니 베비오데 남스미 모차 야자비 데메바 다도 베와진디 다 가지나로 쿠르민도 바다데 너 아니 아스도 바다 작가 세다진 안즈 말메스 안좀 칠라베 니마디 찝자 셈시 안좀 온 데메바 다 공기 다 하마고에서 지딩 advocate chibigo educate bigo chidoba dan bodalo the changes the keba halam nemata chipta da do bodo junuslan bi gajin the school na thega bi re to na kiraki gunu bishipta re bish the update bi sube nemagi nga jigita na mi ga bishta matsumi the ro bishta sumi din ro na de mi sube ro gyara outside na la jo shimina still da to ro ani bi Dan bi da lu ke ba di change halam ju dan bi ngai nan same guys lan mi guys wachin da upcoming transformation su chi da debe ma de islam bi mo da nga libi gi bulli bi mo string gi bulli bi san member rangira tsa gendi da ngan zu mi debe wachin da ro shimi kamchi ong de mo transform an su gi de ni page tin to pe da nga ro mi gi di lam gi di ma bre debe me te raji dan bi da ran sem ma she sem ding di bi debe de pe shita ni so update pe da de ranga imidi ro lam gi di na rangi shegu pe rangi lappe da nga ni dun transform ji na gi debe ze ma da se mo an zu rangi le심 bi shek lap so bachi mi ge ha go so ba da da shi mo ji be da mi su di da nga ji gi jogo min do mo di su di de ra im ra shi ji nga gi be ji change de halam do slan mi da ni ma da chip de
I think that I think one of the beautiful coincidences was seeing Uginchika Dandavera, she also came out in money to the public and at the same event. So seeing it Gazumomida, Kodampa Mochi, Kodampa with him, Beombe, and transforming easy, Mangu Tino, Sunny Baby, the Datuban Kebok Somega Chibioch.
Chabati tu pincha biru ani himadi nasilo tu anzum public tum katin anzum bewala pincha tu suge anzum latni mi tanga rupom isran bitu
so himadi tu
Iban da gaslo ngai the kai padi ni madi khonjungalu aja ani aja sboma aja akuse da tu di khona chi gi la pe da aja ani akus tenjo de bero mala bro ani la azna stadi ani be hastu ba diskul na hebde think da so ji ko lam do ko konzu gi antum be be da di nima da chita di da fa ngaji da kungi bishi bis num anzu gi nima di laung tenga jule aja chaka antum be da di minna be on ajo
da amma laung alu
da di ajo da di halam ji bis
da ni gislaw mudi tangne kesi la bidim ni chunde moya ni gislaw ga school na job do kirki be jongote she was the youngest mo she was the youngest eva demo kira disuki be jomot mi school isne
school get allowed but I think this is because
it's happening. I think
it's because there's platforms like this, people like you, like bringing this dialogue forward. Otherwise, I don't think this change just happened one night. No, everyone woke up and then we were like, okay, I think time to change our mindsets.
But that's
a slow process.
But that's happening on a very individual basis, and it depends on that person. So the beauty about that is like it shows there's an acceptance of the community, and whatever work we're trying to do, the visibility is getting to. But the danger is that moment that person is not in that position, then again we're back to square one and we have to start with a scratch. So who knows if, example, the current school principal has accepted her to dress in Kira and continue education. But if the principal changes, if the next principal is not as accepting as him or her, then again there's nothing. So
they should
we really feel that. I think at the end of the day, I mean, of course, like as a country, this individual initiative is very, 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 I think, heartwarming, and it's a very beautiful, I think, practice that we're doing. But at the same time, I think, in order to ensure that there's equality for all of other who also wants to be treated equally and same, I think we need a much stronger policy intervention. I think
school nullify if it's like in a handbook that people can be allowed to wear whatever they want, express themselves however they want. So.
And eventually, like systemic transformations with what you like mentioned, like most of these things we learn when we were very young, and like it keeps being enforced like subconsciously through education, through family, etc. So that's a good component of just like, for example, curriculum development and just gender inclusion, introducing these terms at an early age and like in spaces like this that have a big impact in our lives and how we behave and understand things eventually.
Also, I've initially, I think, has been associated movement from the very beginning itself. I think it was the end of 2014. So in that short process, in short duration, I think we have made a significant progress in terms of visibility, because if you go back to the year before 2014, I think there were no visible presence of the community, and of course it's not the community that exists, but there's no, I think, visibility at all for the community, the authentic visibility
and representation also.
But I think still, I think after the historic repeal of Section 213-14 amendment and repeal, still I think we have a long way to go in terms of advocacy, because in a way, I mean, we thought that I think with the very big policy change, I think we made an assumption that the whole country, the rest of the population will be aware about the community, and the stigma and discrimination which arise out of ignorance, I think, would also go away with it. But that's not the case. Still, I think there's lots of stigma and ignorance towards the community. I mean, so in a way, I think we feel that I think advocacy. I think we should prioritize advocacy for now. I mean, advocacy not only for the community, within the community, in terms of the sexual health and various other things, but in terms of the general awareness for the mass population, which includes policymakers and everyone, I think, educator and all that. And we have to continue to continue our advocacy effort, be it through the online means or even the age-old practice of doing it face-to-face. I think we shouldn't stop. I think and continue the advocacy effort that I think for past few years, due to COVID-19 and of course lack of funding in this space, I think we are not able to do it properly. And in order for the movement to sustain in the longer run, I mean, and I think we have to work on the spirit of collaboration. I mean, people assume that the LGBT or the queer issue is a very isolated issue, and they don't think that other relevant agencies or partners or stakeholders, they don't think that whatever issues that we're experiencing it's not their area of work, or I think it doesn't, it's not relevant to them. But in a way, I mean, whatever we are talking about, be it gender, be it equality, or as simple as we're talking about education and employment. So in a way, I mean, whatever the issues that is experienced by the community, I think it is relevant to all the stakeholders, both CSOs and government entities in the country. And in a way, I mean, if we want the movement to sustain, and if not, I think excel as well, I think we need to build this spirit of collaboration. And on top of that, I think having this understanding that the queer issue is not an isolated issue. I think these issues affect every one of us. I mean, so if I have to give a classic example, I mean, when we were doing an advocacy session with a very important person, the important person came after the advocacy. The important person came up to us saying that, "Oh, we support you people," and they in a way,
it's that alienation all over again.
And
it's like segregating.
Your community, yours, and your, and in back of my head, I thought that I think you're going to be a parent soon, or you might have a relative, or someone that you know who might even belong to the community. So in the back of my head, I was just debating that this is not our issue. I mean, it can be, or it has already been your issue as well. I mean, maybe your son or daughter who might identify from the queer spectrum, or maybe your relative or a friend who might come out as a queer person. Then how are we going to how are we going to, I think, react to it?
Right.
Because as of now, the things that the notion you're giving us is that it's our issue,
versus them,
our issue, not his issue, but it's our issue. So in a way, he was saying that. So we have to get rid of that idea. And whenever I do advocacy, I always tell that it's not our issue; it's everyone's issue. And citing that same reason I've given before, I mean. So in a way, I mean, for us, I think one of the major things that we have to focus right now on is on advocacy, and there's also other various areas, such as maybe we can talk about legal gender recognition, we can talk about access to education, even about health, and there's so many other issues that need to be addressed. Just because of the repeal, I think again, people tend to assume that every problem of ours is solved.
No, it's a baby step.
It's just a tip of the iceberg we're able to conquer. I mean, there's whole iceberg beneath, which is not visible, and that is and that is in a way we can compare to the issues that queer community is experiencing, and hopefully I think with few upcoming intervention, I think we might be able to make some few strides here and there, but we're hoping for the best and I think we really need to nurture, I think, the spirit of collaboration, which is quite lacking in our society and in our workspace as well.
This is like a genuine request to our whole society, especially that we were discussing TikTok in the comments. Please be mindful with your words, with your choice of words, with how you approach other people. Like, it shouldn't even be a discussion, or people shouldn't have to go out there and be like, please, use kind words. It's so sad, that we have to do that. And human decency, that basic human decency should be there, that understanding that, weren't we brought up with that idea that but how is it like sometimes like on social media you go completely against that value? So I'll be like, I would urge people to be kind to others, please.
No rangi yang sepasa kan neme macam di macam migi be masuk kecil no andi be ko be di yang sa macam hengkira turu ani matra ani jom bang aci ma wasa tra di ni di wasa ma di rangi kecil juru be mi di dong kate macam antan
something I could say would probably just take your time. I think it's a process for us all, and it is valuable and completely okay to just navigate your own identity on your own, with people seeking support alone through online resources or through in-person resources, but just always allow yourself that flexibility and that space to both not cope with it, but like get familiar with it yourself, to then be able to reach further people and educate others that might be curious and willing to learn something from you.
Dangagi biwachin da ngachira upcoming da kwe kimu ngachira nash da transperuda da ngachira gi ngachira dan perura da khonsugi disichi meba mainly disichi da ngachira biru michi only da 미치 only chuli ta chuli things lab zum so ranga chi decision ko chi ra da mo rogi pe me sam na pe da se mashwa ta kade da rogi lab de pe ra tizum se mashwa se mi ting ji bite de da mi bom lishim ta na slam ni be nga gi be wa chin da achira da ni ma kau chi gu tin chi san mo da ni be da lu da to se na se mi ting ji bite be ra la ani ga chlo zob na memba lishim na ga chira yalu gi se mi shi lo tam ku tu drugs la nin thame o me ba ga chi da shin so azum de ma da se shuni bi de la sem de la ding ji de jauche lam zu lishim na ta pe wa chin ding gi be wa chin di be chu se no me ga chi so chin da to gara dibera da granji me de mo rangi cho thap tin min do da cho thap me bi sura da ranji be shim de mi gi de no da khata ni da ranji de be me ma dan bin de ni upcoming gi transform gara be de be chiro de sem ding ji be de jawachi lam zu lishim be gi de na ta be wa chi rang gai rangi do mi wa chin islam bi ni ka de
Dangai te kamujinde. Okay, look the comments kina chike togosh comment kina chotalo acho or ajim, okay? Most of the time alu chunko disi ajim sus pene but ngal dilo address pene dile. So I'm totally fine with it. That today the ajim or acho nga guslanga open up big nui debata nga ready meal. Nga get advice to go cholo chin that you open up in ready meal chin. Take your time. Take your time. But ani guslanga cho open up binigi right time di mapale romate. No, tangam china confident, tangam china family love soup lodge, and gonna charm to open up. Don't pressure yourself. Because the Gastonga, be yourself. Thank you.
My advice to the younger generation or the upcoming generation would be that we live in a very interesting and very beautiful time right now. I mean, so in a way, I think with the world opening up, especially for the upcoming and the younger generation. So we see a lot of, I think, empathy from them, and especially this understanding about being different is quite unique. And at the end of the day, it's what makes us, I think, who we are at the end of the day. So we have seen that. I mean, and especially in terms of that empathy, I think this generation is much better, I think, because of exposure the generation, the younger people have due to internet and the world opening up. So I do have a very high hope for them, I think, and I also have this, I think, as hope that I think it's going to get better. I think it's not going to go worse. I mean. So with that hope, I think I wanted to say that I think keep on the good work, and we can clearly, I think, we appreciate whatever the young people, I think, the willingness to learn, the willingness to adapt, the willingness to be kind to each other. I think that's quite beautiful.